What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Yala, your thrice weekly podcast where we talk about the hottest news with a touch of what, Terrence?
Good old humor.
Good old humor, man. Good old humor. How's your week, man, Terrence?
Well, the weather has been topsy-turvy, really.
But this week has just been hot, right?
No, but it keeps raining and it's very hot, and it rains and it's very hot. Yeah, so quite a you kind of prepare for the day to be very hot, then suddenly it's pouring, and you have to cancel whatever plans you have to go out in the sun and all that. So a lot of twists and turns, basically.
What sort of plans do you have, Terrence, to go out in the sun?
No, when you got a child, you're constantly engage them, Think of ways to engage them in public. Yeah.
That is true.
It's not so like the good old days of being single or without child.
Do whatever the fuck you want.
I do whatever the fuck I want.
No, I mean same way I'm married now, lah. Not to say that like there's it's more difficult because we've been living together pre-marriage as well. But I mean we did have the hottest day in 2023 on April 4th.
Yeah.
It hit 35.9 degrees. But I mean, even then, I don't know, there's something about Singapore weather, I guess the humidity that makes it just horrible. Because, if anyone knows anyone in Dubai or the Middle East, the temperatures get like crazy there in the 40s, right? But I don't know, Singapore 36 degrees is like, holy shit, man.
Yeah, and the humidity just clings onto you, like it's, under every pore. It's in every pore of your skin. It just reminds you that it's there and it's hot and it's wet and it's all over,
Yeah, like the last time I wasn't moist was probably like February 12th.
Yeah, during the cold spell, right?
It's been a long time, yeah. It's been a long ass time. But I think it's only going to get worse because April is never the hottest time of the year. Right?
It's not. I'm still willing to give April a second chance, Maybe, who knows, April might turn out to be a bit nicer. Since today we're talking a lot about second chances and all that.
I didn't even see that coming, man. I didn't even see that coming. That's true. All right, cool. Yeah, it's an interesting one, and we are finally talking about it, lah. I think we have like skimmed over it in previous podcasts, but we are finally talking about it. But before we jump into that, is there anything you'd like to say, Terrence?
I think on our subreddit, people have already been posting and pointing it out, but we were recently on the Financial Coconut podcast as well to talk a little bit about money and how YouTubers and content creators make money and all. So there was a part 1, and I believe part 2 is now out as well. So you can either listen to it on the Financial Coconut on Spotify or on their YouTube channel as well, where they post a video.
Yeah, it's there, and I mean I just remember I had a great time recording it, and it was fun. It was fun, and hopefully people enjoyed the first one, and now it's the second one, man. It was a long conversation.
Always fun to be in to do something with Reggie from the head Financial Coconut.
The head coconut. Sweet, man. All right. Shall we, man? Shall we jump into it?
I know you can't wait. I know you can't wait.
Thing beckons.
Yes.
Yeah, and I mean, I didn't even catch wind of this because this is almost like fresh off the press, lah. And it was that earlier this morning, Dee Kosh, who we have kind of mentioned in passing in the past few episodes, because he got released from jail for his offenses, and he's slowly been he's been posting a lot on social media talking about how he wants to share his side of the story, lah. And finally he uploaded a 51-minute video, like a tell-all, on Rumble, the social media platform, which if people aren't aware, it was like co-started by Donald Trump after he got cancelled from Twitter. It's basically like I don't know what their cancellation policy is, but I know people who want to put up stuff that might be slightly contentious. Rumble is an option,
favored by right-wing commenters, right?
Yes, favored by right-wing commenters, and it's skewed towards a male audience,
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, how do you catch wind of this story?
Mothership, yo.
mothership.
Mainstream media as it gets, a mothership.
Yeah. So I mean, okay, before I mean, if you're listening and you already clicked on this, because I know some people are just turned off by the whole thing about Dee Kosh, right? They're just like, fuck this shit. I don't care. Let's move on. But I mean, I think there are certain interesting things to talk about, lah, because it's a 51-minute video. We can go into what he spoke about, but just makes you think about society and the world we live in, lah.
But I know you alluded. No, you alluded to this. You know, the response to Dee Kosh, you know, his comeback video and everything. The one where it was a very cinematic trailer where he juxtaposed all the articles and all the people talking about him on social media with a very cool shot of him emerging from the light and turning around, almost like the Avengers Returns kind of trailer,
correct.
right?
Yeah, correct.
So I know you had some very strong reactions to that, and you also had reactions to other, you know, influencers and all who reacted very positively to that video, lah.
Yeah.
So when you saw this piece of news, like, what was your immediate reaction?
My first thought was, okay, finally, I want to hear this, because I think when I used to hear him saying that, you know, I'm just waiting for the right time to share my story, and I'm like, I mean, I believe everyone has a right to share their story, but at the same time, I don't know, it feels like your social media clout is you're regaining your mojo, and I feel like wait, there's still a lot of unanswered questions. You can't keep just saying that you're going to share the story and not share it, lah. When are you going to share? So when this came out, I was like, okay, finally, and I want to, if you're going to talk about it, I want to watch it, lah. My sentiments up to this point is like what you said, lah. Like the first few things he posted online, it almost felt like he's been wronged, lah. He's been wronged, and he's here to set the record straight. And I was just seeing comments from other influencers, which, I mean, it's public. You can see on Instagram people like Hirzi, Genie Boy, and all people with like hundreds of thousands of followers, if not more, lah, you know. And like just making jokes of like, oh, you know, how jail got no barber and stuff. And it felt overly lighthearted, lah, about the gravity of things. And then Dee Kosh has gone on to post quite positive videos about how his health improved, how he had time to think through stuff, how his diet improved, how he has lost weight. And generally, if you didn't know the backstory, he just looks like a positive influencer, positive content creator.
Yeah. I think the last time we didn't want to talk about it because we knew that there must be some tell-all video or something coming out at some point, right? And, you know, the interesting thing is this is my first time watching something on Rumble. Like, I've read about it, I've heard about it, but I've never actually watched anything on Rumble itself. So in some ways, Dee Kosh has influenced people to go and check out Rumble for the first time.
That's right, yeah. It's the first video I watched on Rumble.
It is, yeah. But so it really shows you, he has that draw, right? He has the draw he had the draw as an influencer, and maybe, for whatever reasons, maybe he felt like I can't put this up on YouTube because it might violate some policies or something that might cause it to get taken down. But you know, I guess the biggest thing that shocked me was that it's a 51-minute long video. My God, 51 minutes.
It's like a podcast.
But it's pretty much a monologue, right? It's just, I mean, I think there were two people who are behind the camera two girls asking him questions, or at least reacting to certain things he said. But other than that, it's really just him, right? And no one else. So 51 minutes, man. If I only recommend you watch it if you really, really have the time, or if you're really, really interested in this.
Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people making reaction videos and commenting on this, and probably Reddit threads coming up trying to dissect it. But again, I think it's worth talking about it, because one thing that I think everyone has thought about at some point is when people fuck up in the eyes of society, what is a path they can take to try and claw back some normalcy, right? Some semblance of a regular life. Everybody fucks up. What is the path? And this is an interesting path, So, okay, so I mean, just like we can summarize what he talks about, because if you're listening, I don't know if you're going to watch the full 51-minute video. Both of us watched the whole thing. There are articles trying to summarize it, but so I'll just at a high level just go through the things he said. So, first thing, he wanted to address the allegations, and there was some stuff that I also realized that I didn't know of before. So he was first accused in 2020. He went on Instagram and denied the allegations. And because there were a number of allegations, so somewhere along the line, that denial of the first allegation became like he's denying all allegations. There were different allegations, and then he sent the cease and desist letter to the first allegation. But in the news, according to him, it was painted like he was silencing all his victims. I think one big thing when the case came out was that he was paying money in return for sex, which, I mean, without context, it just sounds horrible. But he admits, I think for the first time publicly, that he did choose a sugar daddy, sugar baby lifestyle from as early as, I think, 2015. And
that's right.
I guess what he said is true. There's nothing wrong with that if both parties are consensual.
Yeah.
Right? It's not against the law. So that's what he did. And where he admits he screwed up was that the three people he did end up having sex with in exchange for money were 17 years old. According to him, he was not aware that in Singapore, 16 is the age of consensual sex, but for paid sex, where there's some money exchange happening, it's 18.
Actually, did he have sex with them? I thought it was the attempt to procure sex with them. That was what he was convicted for. Because if he had sex with them, it would be a much heavier sentence.
Important clarification. Yes.
Yeah, very important.
Yeah, very important. It was the solicitation right.
That's right.
Okay, yeah, the solicitation, and I think it's important that we clarify stuff like this because he did go through details and some of which were new to me, and even now after doing research, I still made a mistake. So I apologize for that because this can be very touchy. It was not the actual act; it was the solicitation. Right.
That's right.
And there was another report that said he asked for sex in exchange for money when the victim was 15. So according to him, he met the victim on Grindr, which is the app, like the hookup app, very big in the gay community, where all people are required to admit that they are 18 or above. So according to him, the person didn't believe that it was Dee Kosh, so he shifted it to Instagram, and that's when he realized the guy was 15.
By seeing pictures of the kid in school uniform and all that.
Yeah. So and I mean, he also said that there is a community of people who are open to sex for money, and it's apparently designated with like an emoji with a money sign on your name, and this guy had it in his Grindr account.
Yeah.
So that nothing happened with that person, and he was very clear about that. And then there were 2 videos that were found on his old phone of him having sex with 2 individuals, both who were like 23 or 24 years old. Because when the investigation started, they confiscated all his equipment, all his SD cards, all his hard drive.
Yeah.
So of the 8 charges that he initially had against him, the final one was that he was raped. He raped someone. But just so happened that one of the 2 videos that were found was a recording of that act of sex, which Dee Kosh admits he recorded without consent. And ironically, it was that video that caused the final charge of rape to be dropped because it showed that it wasn't rape.
Yeah, but there was still the charge of filming someone without their consent, right? Filming someone in the act of sex without their consent.
Yeah, correct. And then he pointed out that because of all these nuances where, the charge of the allegation of rape was dropped, the cease and desist was apparently for the first allegation only. There was no sex involved. It was just a solicitation of sex. He said the media outlets at that point in time were very misleading. Because I think, they called him, and I do recall reading headlines like, with the word pedophile inside, even if it's him denying he's a pedophile, that he had sex with minors and that he felt it was sensationalized. And then he was open about where he admits he fucked up, which is, like trying to solicit sex on Instagram, which is out of like the pool of people who dabble in that, with the money sign and all this, that aspect of community. And then that he wasn't aware of the 17-year-old being against the law for paid sex. And then he went for 2 psychiatric assessments that deemed that he was not a pedophile. And then one element of the court case is the statement of facts, which is issued after he pled guilty. And he had issues with that, where apparently it alleged that he was driving to the victim's school to pick up the 17-year-old to have sex and all that, which he said was all untrue. But at that point in time, he was so exhausted and so drained financially that he decided not to deny that statement of facts, which again, he said it's like $8,000 to go for each time you want to deny it in court. And then after that, he talks about how it has impacted his life, how he's thankful for his family, thankful for his friends that have stood by him. But it's said that he can't even thank his friends publicly because they would be attacked online.
Yeah, that's right.
So that was the gist of what I took away, what articles are summarizing. Was there anything that stood out to you?
I think, he said also, he's very sad because he gave the examples of he can't even be around young children anymore, whether it's his family gatherings or even, walking past the playground, he would skirt around the playground because he didn't want people to say anything about him. And that also he recounted an incident of being taunted while taking a bus, where a bunch of boys or men, I'm not sure, were standing around him saying, "Hey, you fuck boys, is it?" and things like that to him. And how come when you go in jail and things like that? So he said, he's painting it that as a public figure, he's suffered, his reputation has suffered a lot from this whole thing, and it's hard for him to even go around, and this is a stain that will stay with him forever. Yeah.
So towards the end, he got quite emotional and all. Yeah.
Got crying.
So now you're gonna ask the $1 million question, is it?
No, I just wanted to ask you. So do you, Harish, do you believe in second chances?
Yes. Yeah, I do. And I'm sure you do also. Right?
Yes, I do.
But that's a very blanket statement, Terence.
Yeah. No,
fucking blanket statement.
The other thing I want to ask is, like, from the high horse that you're sitting on, what is the judgment you're gonna mete out to Dee Kosh's social media appearance?
What is this high horse that you speak of, Terence? My feet are still touching the ground. On the ground, I'm sitting on a chair.
No, because I think you already, the last podcast, or I think the last podcast we did, you already brought up this issue already, right? And you had quite strong opinions about it already. So after watching this, does this change any of your opinions?
Okay, so that was why I also wanted to talk about this, because I know previously I was like, you know what, screw this bullshit, okay? You want to share your story, you share. Now that he did the video, how to... So first of all, I still think it's good that he did the video to clarify certain things.
Okay.
Which even I was like, oh, I didn't know that, admittedly. And I think I can't remember if we spoke about it in detail, but it was something that I was reading and all that. So I appreciate him doing the video, and I can't imagine his life right now. Of course, he has friends and family, but it must suck big time, It's been going on since 2020, since the first allegation came out. He went to prison. During the 1-year investigation, he couldn't really do anything. So his life was in shambles, and plus COVID some more, But even after all that, I feel his stance, it still doesn't sit well.
And why is that?
Like certain things about it's very interesting because he's not just a citizen on the street. He's a public figure, and he's quite a big following, he had quite a big following. Yeah. And just the nature of how he spoke about how the media labeled him a certain way, and that's a label he'll stick with for the rest of his life. Yeah. But he has done that multiple times to multiple people. And
I think what you're referencing there is that part of his shtick or his branding is literally like doing videos like the top idiots of the year in Singapore, right?
Yes.
Where he does a countdown of people who've done stupid things, maybe even illegal things on social media, or especially social media influencers, who have done publicly very stupid things or had spats online and things like that. So he's mocked them, and he's also, he was also the guy who called out when another influencer, Eden Ang, also had a very big scandal, right? He was like the he was basically the judge, jury, and executioner in that case, right? He was front and center in bringing that story to light, right?
Yeah.
So it's just quite a big fall from grace, and just a reminder that that's where he started, lah. It's not just Dee Kosh, a personality, or Dee Kosh the DJ. It was Dee Kosh, the almost a crusader, lah, kind of, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because dude, I even forgot about the top 10 idiots of the year. Like, I know he had public spats with Ridwan, who I guess they made up over time. He, Tian Hao, and NOC made that one video that was the first major taint on the influencer scene in Singapore, if not other stains, where they were doing the smash or pass and talking about other people from a physical perspective, lah, about whether they would fuck them and shit. Then there was a video, I think, about with Nicole Chu and her book, Right. So it was a series of you say I sit on a high horse, but holy shit, he was on like a fucking unicorn flying in the stratosphere, man.
Yeah, it was fucking 100 story like Trojan horse.
Yeah, that's why. So then I guess that's where it just doesn't sit. There's something a bit off, lah. So I mean, we can talk about it, but for you, okay, after you listen to it, and you've also been keeping as much track of it as me, if not more, what did you feel?
I mean, it's pretty crazy. He's only been out of jail for 5 minutes. And already there's all this content coming out. The comeback and the explaining my side of the story. Usually there's usually a period of people, especially public figures, who get in trouble. They go away quietly for a while, right? And in his case, he went to jail and then he came out of jail and hasn't even been a minute, and already there's content and articles about it again. So it kind of makes you question is there any remorse, right, for any wrong that he might have done? And just watching the video, I would say it really focused the video. For me, the focus of the video was really passing through the different charges and identifying which one were honest mistakes and which ones were, okay, it was wrong. Yeah, I fucked up, that kind of thing, right? And this is why I fucked up. As opposed to recognizing the hurt to the victims that this might have caused, or talking more about how he's taking steps to reform or get better after this whole thing. Because maybe, besides second chances, besides just giving people second chance, I think what you would love to hear also is how people have maybe reflected and also changed during all this period of turmoil, right? But I don't think we saw as much of that in the video, I think there's been a lot of banter about how much weight he lost in the video, being in prison and everything. But other than that, I haven't seen much about what steps he's taking to, whether to better himself or to I don't know if there's any way to but make things better for the victims as well, right? Whereas it's more of I did my time already, I served my time, and that's it really, So that's where it does sit a little uncomfortably with me. And and I guess the other thing also is that quite clearly, social media was his playground, right? Social media was where he got famous. Social media was how he got paid. And he, in his own words himself, he used Instagram. He was talking to that 15-year-old kid on Grindr who didn't believe that he was actually Dee Kosh. And then he brought it to Instagram. So even social media was even a place where these crimes were committed, right? It was on social media platforms. So to see him back on social media again, on this very same platform which was used to commit the crime and all that, it's just quite crazy, lah. It makes you wonder, is there any kind of understanding of the severity of what you did and how it might have affected the victims, and about what people, what the general public really thinks about you coming out, lah. So that's why the whole thing to me just wow, it's kind of crazy, lah. But that said, like you, I also believe in second chances. But what kind of second chances do you believe there are for a sex offender?
So I mean, he legally is classified as a sex offender, right?
I suppose so, yeah.
Yeah, because so I mean, the thing is, so technically he didn't have sex with anyone under the age of 18, correct?
Did not have commercial sex with anyone under the age of 18, yeah.
Okay, didn't have commercial sex. I mean, okay, so sex offender, it's something that I still don't know the answer to. I think no one knows the answer. It feels like once you're a sex offender, rapist, there's almost no redemption. You stick with that label for the rest of your life, and too bad for you. You make the best of it, but too bad for you. And so I think there are always going to be steps that you can take to maybe make your life less shitty. And I think in this case, I don't know, yeah, like even for me, I mean, full disclosure, we made a video with him back in 2014. I remember my thoughts of him. I was like, hey, this guy's funny, professional, came on time, did what he had to do, and I was like, hey, cool. And we kept in touch with me at events, but after a while, I don't know, there was the more he became that kind of like moral judge online, I just was like, what is this guy up to? And then we never worked with him after that, right? So at this point, I think even just seeing it as someone trustworthy, someone who is sincere, it's going to take a long time for me. But then it makes me think, like, as much as we say social media is not the best thing for him to be on right now, which I agree, but everything points towards it being a great way for him to come back. People are following him. He's getting an outpouring of support. You can say they're haters and all, but on his Instagram page, there's a lot of love, a lot of support. And that's confusing the fuck out of me.
You're not happy with the support that he's getting, lah?
I'm surprised, lah. I can't say happy. I mean, so you want to be supportive, sure, but I'm just trying to understand, especially for the people who are people with following, right? You have a following, you are a public figure, and by just being so blatantly like not even acknowledging the shit and just going back to normal, that feels weird.
So you feel that they should be ostracizing him, not commenting on his thing, not welcoming him back to social media?
No lah. No, but that's the thing, like commenting and all, I feel then people will take it at face value lah, and it's more the signal of what you can take away from it. It almost feels like now it is more about the justice that he is owed by society, the compassion that he is owed by society, which he never got lah. But I'm like, that's not your fucking decision, man.
But then people say, hey, but Harish, you talk about this, but like, there are people that you've worked with as well who have gone to prison for whatever offenses and come back. And then after that, you all still cast him in your show and even cast him as a lead in one of your shows or a couple of your shows. Well, what's the difference between them? I mean, yeah, we're actually talking about Noah Yap, right?
Yeah.
I think Noah Yap is very famously known for having gone to detention barracks for drug use. So, but we have continued working with him even after he came out from DB and everything, right?
Yeah.
So, what is the difference there, Harish, for you?
I mean, there were a lot of things said about Noah in the media also that was fucked up, and he's very open about how difficult it was for him to get back into the industry. But at no point do I recall seeing or reading something where it was like he was wronged. You can disagree with the law that put him there, 9-month DB for being caught in possession of marijuana. But it felt like, okay lah, suck thumb lah, I broke the law, fuck it lah, I fucked up. And now it's about getting back my life lah. But with Dee Kosh, there's this layer of like everything that was done, everything that was said about him was wrong and is not fair to him. Yeah. So I mean, for you, like we when we casted Noah, at no point I think were we thinking, hey, like he's done this. In fact, we're like, no lah, like we want him to be part of the show because he's a talented guy.
I think also because just understanding what the crimes the crimes were, they're not in the same sphere lah. Like one is at the end of the day, it is a crime, but it is his own individual drug use, right?
Yeah.
For Noah's situation. But I think the Dee Kosh side of things is that there were real victims to his actions, right? Whether it's the boy, the kid who was solicited, or the people who were filmed in the act of an intimate act without their consent. So there are victims to the crime, and we've not heard their side of the story, right? And obviously, I don't think that's probably something that they don't want to have to come forward with as well. It's never easy to come out as a victim of anything, right?
But the thing is, you say victim already, like, but I mean, the 15-year-old boy, in some way, he was very open about, money for sex, using the supposed, marker of like, I'm open to money for sex. So like when you say victim also, isn't that kind of like you're getting offended on his behalf? Or is it just the age thing for you? Like, no matter what, how much they want sex, you do not have sex with someone below 16.
In some way, yeah. Because he's a minor, yeah. And
but the moment Dee Kosh found out that he's 15, he stopped what?
According to him, according to Dee Kosh, right? That's what his side of the story. Not saying that discounting what he says is true, but the thing is that that kind of defense doesn't sit in the eyes of the law, right? I don't know if you remember all those years ago when there were a lot of men, even powerful men in Singapore, who were implicated when there was a 17-year-old prostitute, or a 17-year-old social escort who slept with a lot of different men, and then a lot of them ended up being implicated in the whole process, and going to court and being charged and going to jail and everything. It really even just boiled down to, before you get down and dirty with the act, you kind of need to check the person's IC, especially when there's money involved, right? So the defense of I didn't know, that is not it's not seen as a defense, and it still will be. I think it's still seen as a sexual offense. So whatever you want to say, about whether he knew or didn't know and all that, I think you just got to look at what the law is, and the law was broken and a minor was involved, At 15 years old, I didn't know shit about how the world is going and how the world operates, and what could get you in trouble and what the long-term ramifications of what you're doing. So that's why the law is there to protect kids from themselves as well, in some way. I think it's actually incumbent on the adults to make sure that to enforce that across society,
But to me, that is even not the biggest issue I have an issue with, because let's say when I was on dating apps, right? If there was someone who, I can't remember whether Tinder had this thing where you have to be above 18, and they say they're above 18, and we move to WhatsApp, and I see the WhatsApp profile picture, she's celebrating her 15th birthday or something, and I stop, right? I mean, in some way, what more can you do? I know you said that we are giving him the benefit of the doubt, but that's where I feel like, that's tricky because I don't know what happened after that, but nothing happened, and according to him, he stopped And given that there was investigations of all the conversations and all, I don't know, because for me the bigger issues lie with other things
Yeah, but I think you being on Tinder, you're not looking for a commercial arrangement, right? So I think in his case, it was meant to be a commercial arrangement.
Yeah.
So I think the moment there's any kind of exchange of money involved,
but he didn't. And what else could he have done? What else could he have done if he found out the person was 15 when he moved to Instagram? There was no exchange of money done or anything, right?
I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know the exact sequence of everything or what's on the chats. So we're only taking what he says at face value,
Plus
all I'm
investigation.
All I'm pointing out is that the saying I didn't know that the law was like that. It's kind of the moment you're paying people money for sex, I think you just need to be a bit more careful, right?
Yeah.
And saying I don't know is you can't. Yeah, there's a defense that doesn't hold up,
Yeah, so that is something that I like you rightly pointed out, I have a big issue with, because he says time and again that, I fucked up. I didn't know that the legal age for commercials, like paid sex, is 18. But I'm like, okay, you've been doing the sugar daddy life since 2015.
Yeah.
This was 5 years later. It just feels weird that in a domain that can be so tricky, which is having sex with other people for money, this is one fine print you miss out.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. You hear it, you're like, ugh, really? Like, I don't. That sort of stuff is weird, lah.
Because you rightly point out that we do live in this day and age, where even an older man kissing a child on the lips, whether it's a sign of respect or what, can be taken wrongly and everything, right? And then when you get to the stage of you're paying for sex and all that, and then you're oblivious to the kind of laws, the country's laws about these things. That's when it's like, that's quite a difficult one to swallow.
Yeah, exactly. And then so there's that. And then the thing about the recording of the video, the reason he gave why he recorded the video of the person who ended up like alleging that he was raped by Dee Kosh was because he said when he was chatting with the guy, it just didn't feel right. So when they had sex, he just made the decision, you know what, I'm just going to record it. And then he said, and then I forgot about it. It was on my computer. I totally forgot about it. So when they found it, then he got caught. But he said, ironically, in some weird way, he's still glad he took the video because it saved his life. Because otherwise he would have been charged as a rapist.
So it's just a point of clarification. I'm not 100% sure that's why he said he recorded the video.
That's what he said in his Rumble video, no?
No, but when I watched the Rumble video, my takeaway from that was that it was more like he followed the guy on social media or something, and saw that the guy had very was very into these kind of things, whether it's filming himself or filming other people and things like that. So he just thought, oh, okay, it was just something that he would do,
So that's what I said. Right? What did I say?
No, you said that he felt something was not right.
Yeah, so
and that's why he took out that's why he started to film it.
No, something not right in the lead up, and I think he did mention that the guy had sent him videos of his friends having sex. So that's what I meant. Yeah. The not right was from conversations like that, not on the day itself. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I mean the sense I got that wasn't so much that it was meant to protect himself from anything, whereas it was just more of a in the moment kind of thing that he decided to do it. That's my impression, recollection of it. I probably won't watch the whole thing again to verify, but I just wanted to point out that that's my interpretation.
But either way, like no matter what you say, it felt like a very weak defense, and you didn't talk about the other video that you recorded. So it's just that sort of thing. And when you go on his Instagram and he posts an excerpt of the video, the caption is "Thank you for everything, thank you for believing, thank you," heart emoji. Then I'm like, what? Like, it feels almost like he's lifting a weight off his shoulder. But what is that weight? That's what I'm fucking confused by. Like, and everything you said, just now about how he's using his excuse that he didn't know and he felt this record. If you not even acknowledging that, yo man, that used to be the person, you be the first one to call shit like this out. But then now when it happens to you, you're almost saying, okay, this is something you have to stick with for the rest of your life. And I just feel like, you want to give second chance also, sure, but it's just leave a very bitter taste in the mouth.
Yeah. I mean, if anything, like maybe if there's a bit more, not jumping back on social media so quickly, right? Give it a little bit more time to sit and everything. Then maybe it wouldn't feel so weird. But this one really feels like straight away out of prison, straight away, there's more content to create now that I'm out of prison already, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So there's no double jeopardy, so I'm free to start talking about everything again.
Yeah. So I'm not recommending you go watch the video, but it's just, I don't know, it just makes you think about, I would even say the world we live in, man. The society, like how people react to this sort of stuff. Because I saw some people on Reddit also saying, would it be different if it was girls instead of guys? The allegation, would it be different? Would it be different if is it just because one sign of like toxic masculinity is that victims of sexual harassment who are male tend to get like, okay is less serious lah. So when you think about it, you're like, okay, if it wasn't Dee Kosh, if it wasn't someone who was so eloquent online, would it be different lah?
Yeah. Interesting,
Oh,
interesting. And I mean, there actually is not, there aren't that many influencers or reaction videos that have called out Dee Kosh for his video so far, right? There's only a few that I've seen on TikTok. But yeah, you generally, like what you were pointing out is that a lot of the people who've been vocal about it have been positively commenting on his videos lah.
Yeah. So it's just fucking weird.
Surprising.
Fucking weird.
But yeah, it's very weird, and we talked a lot about protecting minors from themselves as well, right? And there are certain times when that literally becomes a matter of life and death as well, which is the next story that we're talking about also, right? Which is what? Well, what is it? What does a minor have to do with this story?
So apparently, a 12-year-old boy, he allegedly entered a private bus and rode it for 5 hours in the morning of one of the past few days and covered apparently 100 kilometers across Tampines, Bedok, Pasir Ris, and Punggol. 12-year-old boy.
Yeah.
So he has been arrested, but it was just like, there's pictures of him in the bus, the CCTV pictures, and he apparently tried to break into other buses before that. But in the end, he found this one bus line. He went on a joyride for 5 hours. So, I mean, it's still a developing story, but why did you want to talk about this? Because to me, it was okay, this ridiculous thing happened. What the hell happened? Why every few days got some young kid doing something like insane, ridiculous?
Yeah.
What is happening to the world? But why did you want to talk about it?
I thought it was quite interesting because the private bus charter, to whom the bus belonged, right? They themselves, the company called A&S Transit, they actually did a Facebook post yesterday saying that it was not the intention for the matter to become public lah. And they're going to say that, because this involves a minor and we don't want to, it's a school exam period, we don't want to disrupt, life for that minor. And we hope that people can be gracious and forgiving take a gracious and forgiving approach in guiding our youth and supporting them the pursuit of their passion. So if you read it, it's not that it's quite strange because imagine this is the company whose bus was stolen, driven around without their consent and damaged, and they're coming out and saying, hey, ease up on the kid, don't drag him through the mud in social media, and let's be gracious and help our youth in guiding them to express their passion. So when I saw that, I was like, that's a pretty interesting take from someone whose property was just damaged. So I did read up a little bit more, and I found out that I think there's a very, very big, not very big, I mean a few hundred. There's a community of bus enthusiasts in Singapore, made up generally of quite young teenagers, and these are bus enthusiasts who are obsessed with buses, to the point where they know every single bus route. They know every model of every bus. They photograph buses as a hobby. They meet up to discuss about buses. And get this, I think if you actually watch some of the YouTube videos and all, they actually make videos where they actually work with the company in question, A&S Transit, to create a private charter night rider service. Because I don't know if you remember, but there was a night rider service in Singapore before COVID, and then because of COVID, it was cancelled, and now it hasn't come back since, right?
Yeah.
So these guys are so enthusiastic about buses and night buses and all that they actually come together and work together with the A&S Transit to create routes and do marketing and everything for these night rider buses, So they actually have. I think they have a very symbiotic, very close relationship with these bus companies. And I think these bus companies are aware that these are the greatest supporters, These bus enthus, in I think in short form they're called bus enthus. And that's why the company is taking such a, like, let's guide our youths to express their passion in healthy ways. I mean, I think what they're pointing at is that this, my speculation, is that this kid is part of that bus enthusiast community. And he got very, I don't know, maybe he got very excited about, maybe you saw in the video somewhere where he learned how to start a bus even without any, I think without any key or what. Or I've even heard that these buses these days don't even need keys to be started, because they are private charter buses and all that, right? So yeah, he just took his passion a step too far and thought he would like do whatever he'd been seeing on YouTube videos of what bus drivers are doing and just start a bus himself and just ride it around himself, So it's if you really look at it, aside from the fact that it's a huge danger to other people on the road, right?
Yeah.
This was a kid who had basically was over enthusiastic about his passion and ended up doing this, and that's why the company's tone is so like, it seems so like, oh, leave him alone, don't judge him for what he did.
But to be fair, that's your hypothesis that he's part of the community. Or do you see somewhere that people saying, oh, he's part of the community?
I think there are some community pages for these bus enthusiasts, and some of them have pointed out that there are a couple of bus enthusiast content creators who have done like parody videos about breaking into buses and starting the engines and driving them around, things like that. And maybe when young minds are exposed to videos like that, they think that, hey, I've seen an influencer do that, I can do that myself too. And so they are, these bus enthusiast communities are getting quite defensive about their content and about their community.
I see.
So that's where I'm seeing that there's a link between those two, the incident and this bus enthusiast community.
Oh, because I first came to know of such niche communities when I was working at Singapore Airlines and Scoot, which was aviation, right? And I found out there are people who last time the what is it, the coastal road, it was right next to the runway of Changi Airport, right? And you could watch planes there, and there were people who would camp out with like cameras and all just to catch, like, I think when the Dreamliner was coming out, there was a lot of enthusiasts who wanted to like just watch and catch the Dreamliner in action. And I think one of my ex-colleagues who told me, there are people who are damn hardcore, they know everything about the plane. And then I discovered that there are similar ones for trains. I know when the SMRT, a news station pops up and all, there's a whole group of people. I think they've made some videos before, which you can find on YouTube. There's a news station and all this. And buses, I'm not surprised also. So then if I were to ask you, like, if you had a chance to talk to this 12-year-old boy, like a 30-minute conversation, Terrence, what approach would you take?
I mean, you have to tell him that what he did was very dangerous, right? And he will face repercussions because of this, because it's against the law and it's not a laughing matter. And even though maybe, thankfully, no one was injured, but property was damaged, and that could have been very, 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 some really bad things could have happened to other people. And how would he feel if those bad things happened to him or his family or his friends or something, right? So I don't know, man. Yeah, it's a tough one for kids, especially when they get to the point where they're doing things that are, dangerous to society, right? You there's all this, you spare the rod, you spoil the child, and things like that. That's that school of thought. But in this case, he really did commit the crime already, right?
Yeah.
And you kind of, he kind of needs to face the music, and you can't sugarcoat it anyway, right?
Because, when I Googled this thing, there was another case back in 2016 where there was a teenager who got probation for stealing buses and going on joyrides. So he was a 17-year-old teenager who was placed on 24 months probation for stealing 3 buses for joyrides. So, and it was noted in the court case that he had a fascination for buses. So, with that context, like with this 12-year-old boy, first clarifying that, yo, man, what the fuck were you thinking? But also to a certain extent, what that Facebook post was, about guiding the youth. Because, okay, so as a 12-year-old boy maneuvering a bus where the steering wheels are normally bigger than car steering wheels, right?
Yeah.
To drive 100 kilometers.
Yeah. Not bad.
It's fucking impressive, dude.
I think even at 18, I was having trouble like driving straight and everything.
And that was with a car. This is a bus, no?
Yeah.
So part of me is like, how did he do that? Because with 12, I mean, I don't know how tall he is, but reaching the pedal, the bus steering wheel is like huge. Then I don't know if buses are automatic or not, but I'm like, holy shit. So we'll have to scold this guy, like, what the fuck are you doing? But at the same time, like, how the fuck did you do this? How did you discover this? How do you figure shit out? And I mean, and that's why I feel like guiding is important, lah, because this guy is not something something conventional that you would expect of a 12-year-old boy. So this kid is like, what is his background? How did it lead to this?
Yeah. Maybe what they should do is really fast track him to some kind of professional driving program, right?
But then you're sending what kind of message are you sending that? Sending there.
True. You're sending a wrong message. That is true. But I mean, yeah, there could be with today's episode is about second chances, right? So we like what the Facebook post was saying, we really should think about how to guide this kid's passions in the right way as well.
Yeah. Because 12-year-old, like 100 kilometers, that is some crazy shit, man.
Yeah.
And his map, apparently, like there's a map on Mothership about his route, lah. It was going through housing estates and he even went on the expressway, the TPE. It's just like, god damn, this guy is wow, something's up, man. Something's up.
Yeah.
Interesting. But I mean, it is what it is. It's still being investigated. It's just like, whoa, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah, man. Crazy.
But yes.
Crazy. Yes.
Speaking of interesting things, what is your one Shiok comment?
Would you like to go first? Let me.
Yeah, sure.
Let me pull
I think
mine up.
we've gotten a lot of since we showed our show She's a Terrorist on YouTube. I think we've gotten a lot of good feedback and very positive vibes from everything, even from other content creators and all that have really made us feel at least a little better about the whole situation as well, right? And I love it that even in our episode 8, a lot of the comments were about just talking about giving their honest feedback about certain things they didn't like, about whether it's the dialogue or what, but all the little comments about how even the little girl who acted in the show was cute, chemistry was great, I hope the harvest happens in season 2. So all those are parts of the story that even I, like, all these years later, I might have even forgotten about it really. But to be reminded of it with these positive comments has been pretty amazing, very humbling also. Yeah, so do check out the series if you haven't yet.
I would say also
yes,
for me also, like no specific comments, because I had not looked at the comments on YouTube up till like a few days ago. And I was also surprised by the people giving comments to that level of detail. And just thought, hey, that is interesting, because it was like the days of when we used to upload more on YouTube and reading comments. I think some of our videos had like thousands of comments. It was hey, shit, I missed this. Yeah, so and it just felt like, okay, like the people asking for bloopers and all that kind of stuff, which we do have. I know in the coming weeks we are going to share more stuff, like just scene extracts and pictures and all that. But yeah, it was nice to see people just respond to it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's true.
Overall, that's that.
And cool. What is your one Shiok thing?
Okay, my one Shiok thing is a recent video that I saw on YouTube, which was uploaded on this YouTube channel called the Joe Rogan AI Experience.
Yeah.
So the Joe Rogan Experience is the podcast. It's one of the biggest podcasts in the world. The Joe Rogan AI Experience is a podcast channel that uploaded their first podcast between Joe Rogan and Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, who created ChatGPT. It's 50 minutes long, and it is entirely generated by AI, which means the content, the voice, everything is generated by AI. And I say it's my one Shiok thing, but it's not like Shiok because now I'm back to being freaked out by AI. To the extent that when I played it for my wife and I told her, yeah, this is generated by ChatGPT, I mean by AI, she's like, oh, so they read it? So the script is from ChatGPT? I'm like, no. The whole thing is AI. She's like, oh, so what, they keyed in the AI and they're reading the responses? I'm like, no, even the voice is AI. And it is some freaky shit. And even Joe Rogan himself responded on Twitter saying, this is going to get slippery, kids. Because the next podcast is between Donald Trump and Joe Rogan. So
you mean that's the next fake podcast?
The next fake one, yeah.
wow.
And it's fucking it's scary, lah. To me, it's scary, but I just wanted to highlight it also because it's important that I think people be aware of how fast this thing is progressing. How fast this thing is progressing, and like, I don't know, yeah. So I oscillate between like, oh, AI is great, it's exciting, to like, oh my god, to AI is great, and now I'm back in, oh my god, just freaking out. Yeah. So just take a listen and have your mind blown, lah.
Yeah.
Cool. And what about you, man?
Mine was I mean, it's a piece of news, but I just saw it as a video on the Straits Times YouTube channel where NASA, the space agency for America, has unveiled a Mars habitat for year-long experiments on Earth, where they get I think it's a volunteer crew or a crew of people training to be astronauts, to live on a fake set of Mars for a year long, just to experience what is it like to potentially live on Mars in the future. So and then they'll run experiments and I think this will help NASA's research into how to make sustainable communities on Mars. But I watched it, I was like, holy shit, like we were 2 years ahead of the curve with our TV show, our Tamil TV series that we did 2 years ago, Mars Boy Center Tom, which was basically this entire concept of a crew of people who on a mission to Mars, and then they get onto a fake set that is essentially Mars, right?
Yeah.
Essentially the Mars habitat, and then hijinks ensue. So yeah, I was just funny. Wow, like it's come full circle. Like reality has caught up with the art right now.
Yeah, man. And like, are they like, when is it gonna start?
Sometime in the 2030s. Actually, it seems like it's not going to be any time. Oh wait, I think there are going to be 4 crew members who will be announced. But they said the mission will start in the 2030s lah. So
I see.
I suppose it's a super long term kind of thing lah. Because I don't think we'll be on Mars by the 2030s lah, right?
Yeah. But it's cool, man. Especially now that I'm watching The Expanse. Any sci-fi outer space shit, I'm down, man.
Yeah.
Oh, crazy.
But cool.
Awesome. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Second chance. A second podcast of the week.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. That's right.
Cool. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody.